You Season 4 Part 1 has recently been released, and it was our first time in 2 seasons where we had no feature of Victoria Pedretti's character Love. It's safe to say that she very much became almost as important to the show as what her counterpart and main character Jo did. However, with us being led to believe that she was killed off at the end of Season 3, there was no reason for her to be included. That was until the Season 4 Part 2 trailer started playing and there was a brief moment where she appeared on screen. This got me thinking, and I thought I'd share the different ways that we could potentially see her again, and explain what her inclusion in the trailer was. So let's get into it. Here is how Love will return in You Season 4 Part 2. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. Love is a hallucination. With the shot that we saw in the Season 4 Part 2 trailer, I think the most plausible option for Love's return on screen would be because she's a part of a hallucination that Jo would be having. As I explained in a previous video that I did where I theorized about how Rhys could potentially be a hallucination of Jo's after reading the book and relating to the words that he said, I think Love will most likely appear towards the end of the season where Jo himself realizes that he is in fact the Eat the Rich killer, and that he's been telling himself that Rhys was doing it due to relating to the words that Rhys uttered in the memoir that he wrote and finding similarities. When we take a look at the shot, I believe this is part of a hallucination due to the fact that we know that Love is dead. She died at the end of Season 3, and although there's been a lot of theories floating around about us not seeing Love actually die, technically we did. We saw the life leave her eyes, and we also saw Jo burn the house down. In this shot, Love is sitting in Jo's infamous box that he keeps his victims in. It looks as though there are books from his classroom on the bookshelf, a lamp that looks as though it's part of the same decor from his apartment, and she's also holding Rhys's book, with what looks like markings in it, which would usually put inside of a book when there was a moment that you would want to refer back to. All things that could be inside of Jo's head and within his past coming to the forefront of his mind. I think this is going to happen when Jo realizes that he himself is guilty, and Love will be the person inside of his head that is revealing it to him. I feel the markings in the book are going to be so important as well. On the blurb of Rhys's memoir and the reviews of the book online, there were moments where Rhys spoke about his struggles, how he was raised by a single mother, and many other things that Jo most probably has in common with Rhys. I think these will be marked in the book and read by Love as a way of showing Jo that he acted based on moments that were in the book, and how the lines that he read made him realize that he could justify acting on what he was thinking. And because he was so deeply embedded within the memoir, he almost created this false persona that was Rhys, even though Rhys does actually exist in real life. I believe Jo manifested his own version of him and had him as a friend. Nobody had impacted Jo's life as much as Love. And that's why I feel as though she'll be the person that will be leading the reveal of the huge twist that I feel is on the horizon and will cause Jo to reach breaking point, exposing him for the insane maniac that he actually is. And the fact that she's dead will make it even more powerful, as it will be his mind bringing her back to life essentially. Jo has had hallucinations and visions in the past following on from the chaotic actions that he's done. For example, he thought that he was seeing Beck at one point after she was dead, he thought he saw his mother at one point, and he also thought that his hands were covered in blood. So we know that hallucinations have been a key thing that have run throughout the show before. So that is how I personally think Love will be used and utilized within Season 4 Part 2. This twist would show us that Jo is slipping deeper and deeper into the depths of insanity, and that he's losing more and more control, so it's going to be a dangerous turn for him. Let's take a look at a couple of other theories. Love is alive and behind the plan. A second option in theory that I think could potentially be on the cards would be that Love could actually still be alive and that she didn't die when Jo burnt the house down. This is one that I think is a little more far-fetched and has a smaller chance of actually happening. This would paint Love as being the person who was behind the blackmailing of Jo and the text messages that he was receiving. She could have been orchestrating what was happening and threatening to expose Professor Jonathan Moore as Jo, as she would have known his true identity. We know that there was a hitman that was sent for Jo by Love's family, and the identity was already created and within an envelope when it was handed to him. There's nothing to say that they didn't pay the hitman in order to set Jo up with this identity, so that they'd be able to find him as and when they needed to. This would then mean that we could see Love meeting with Jo in London, and it could lead to her ultimately being captured by Jo and put inside of his box. This could be the scene that we saw unfolding within the trailer. There could potentially be the copy of Rhys's memoir that he read, and she could take a look at it and find the key points within it that Joe highlighted, which point to the fact that Rhys is a manifestation of his mind, and that the version that he thinks is the killer isn't real. I think this one is quite far-fetched, but I don't think that it's completely off the table. Stranger things have happened in a show before. Joe's past is coming back to haunt him. The final theory that I think could potentially be on the cards is one that is quite a bit out there, but one that I would love to see, and this would involve Joe's past coming back to haunt him. I think it would follow suit to the first theory of Joe coming to the realization that he's actually the Eat the Rich killer, and that the Rhys that he knows of is a manifestation within his mind. But I think we could see Joe in his extremely tender mental state see Love, who will reveal the twist to him, but then we could also see the other people that he cared for and ended up killing, meaning we'd see Love, Beck, Candace and Delilah all inside of the box that he created and talking to him. This would cause him to face himself, something he often tries not to do. But then it would pan around and we'd see Marianne in there as well, revealing to us that Joe did actually kill Marianne and show us that he wasn't able to change on the day that he said that he did, providing the second twist of the season and also providing us with the character that was not only absent in the first part of the season, but would also give us the Joe that we've come to know. I think Love's involvement in the second part of Season 4 is going to be crucial to the closing off of the arc of Professor Jonathan Moore, with the final episode being called The Death of Jonathan Moore. I think Love will be the person who reveals to Joe that it's all been him, and that he's been behind the killings, and if it does happen, it will be the most appropriate person to do so. Victoria Pedretti brought something so unique to the show, and even if we just get a glimpse of her in this new season, it will be well worthwhile and allow us to see a character that's just as crazy as Joe again, if not crazier. I'm looking forward to seeing her involvement and how she'll be incorporated. Bring on Season 4 Part 2, that's what I say. So, there you have it, how Love will return in You Season 4 Part 2. If you want to see more videos such as Endings Explained, theories and predictions and character breakdowns, then click on the I button, or alternatively you can head over to my channel where you'll find them all. If you'd like to give me a show or movie that you'd like me to review, then head over to my Twitter, @brainpilot_, and tweet me what show or movie you'd like me to review next. And finally, if you'd like to see what I rate the latest movies that don't quite make the cut to getting a dedicated video, then head over to my Letterboxd profile. It's where I rate the latest releases in real time. How do you think Love will return? Leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.